Can we just get a little background on you?
On me?
Sure.
Um,
I guess
well,
how you came to be the one that was helping mom and dad, and the relationship that you had with them and everything.
okay. Well, I moved down here in 2006. Dad always wanted to come down, but mom didn't want to come.
Okay.
So we finally got her talked into coming down. I think they moved down here in '08.
Mm-hmm.
They moved into Town Shores. They bought a condo over there. Um, I helped take care of mom somewhat. She was already starting to get the Alzheimer's then when they moved down here. He took care of her for a few years as long as he could, and then we had to put her in the home. And of course, you guys helped with all that. Um, then dad got sick, and well, between mom and dad staying in the condo, he went through a few phases there where he moved a couple times, and I helped him, took care of him for a little while. I was still working, so I couldn't do it full time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when he had his stroke, he also went up to Menorah Manor. I've been in this house. I've lived down here since about '06. I bought this house in '07. So I've been in Gulfport for about 15 years now.
Okay.
15 years next month, this
Wow.
month.
Wow. Okay. And so uh you I kind of touched on it earlier. You were the the person that was you took on assisting mom and dad with everything. What would you say your role was in their care? And I, when I was involved, it was primarily with dad's Medicaid uh,
Right,
and
right.
everything. So what was your role in his care?
Um, just taking care of him there towards the end where he couldn't really take care of himself
Hmm.
24 hours a day. I mean, he was still living in an assisted care facility. Um, so I basically, uh, like I said, when he had to go into Menorah Manor, and we saw that, he probably wasn't going to be able to stay by himself anymore. I came to you guys to help start the process for the Medicaid, and we went from there, I guess.
Yeah, and Menorah Manor is was the skilled facility where he went.
Yes,
Okay, okay.
yes,
And now there's four of you, um, and out of the
right.
four of you, you took the lead on being um, that advocate for dad. Could you describe that a little bit? What were the circumstances that led to you being that person?
Well, I was the only one in Florida.
Okay.
Uh, we're scattered around. My sister's in Michigan, and she did come down as often as she could. I have a brother in Colorado and one in Hawaii. So they were a little too far away. I mean, we talked all the time between the four of us, but my sister and I primarily were the closest ones. So we kind of
Okay.
had to take the burden.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
So before, and again, I know that the April had been involved in the estate planning. But
Yes.
before we got started with the Medicaid, what was it that you were doing to help with dad's care?
Me personally,
Yes.
um, just making sure that he was getting what he needed at Menorah Manor. And before Menorah Manor, I'd go over in the evenings, maybe have supper with him, help him cook, clean, uh, take him shopping,
Okay.
any of the personal stuff that he needed to get done.
Were there any problems that you were dealing with, or any frustrations that you were working through when you were assisting with him with anything that he needed?
Seeing him in that position was hard.
Hmm.
Him, every day not being able to function like he had been. It was really hard to see him decline like that on his own.
Hmm.
Um, that's why we moved him. Well, it was actually his idea to move into a partially assisted living facility.
I do
And
recall that.
then when he had, well, he took a fall over there and he was just never the same after that. So that's when Menorah Manor came into play.
Was there ever a time where you were reluctant to step in and be his advocate, whether it was not wanting him to have a sense of or a loss of independence or anything like that?
No, there wasn't any hesitation on my part. It was hard to see him like that because when mom passed away, he spent hours at Menorah Manor visiting her, and it was hard to see him not function other than that. I mean, he didn't care about himself at all. He was up there twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day, and he didn't take any time for himself. That was hard to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when we became involved, or when I became involved, what was it that we achieved? And we were trying to get him on the Medicaid. What results did we achieve there? And were there areas of your life and his life that improved?
Yeah, definitely. Having you guys help me with that Medicaid, I don't know what I would have done without you. With the Medicaid. I mean, you know what it looks like. The stack of papers are this thick, and you took care of all that. Basically, the 4 of us had to make some decisions financially, of course, but basically you guys handled all of that, and we'll be forever grateful. I don't know what I would have done. I wouldn't have known where to start.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity to have assisted with it. And so would you say there was a good return on the investment? When we think of, well, what did we invest? We invested in, paying our office a fee, and then all the work that you went through, because there was a lot of work on your part. We didn't do it alone. You did a lot of this with us. You did a lot of the heavy lifting, right?
Well, yeah, there was some for sure. But like I said, I wouldn't have known where to start, and I don't regret spending the money at all. Like I said, I wouldn't have known where to start, who to call, anything. So you guys were there for me, and I really appreciated that.
We appreciate it. And how did you first hear about our office?
Basically through Dad. I
Okay.
think when they moved into the town shores over here in Gulfport, somebody must have recommended you, because he had a will and stuff redrawn here when they moved down, but it wasn't through you guys. So I
Okay.
have a feeling that when Mom started, we realized that Mom had to go into a nursing home. Somebody must have recommended you guys, or that's how I heard about you, through him. So,
Okay. And so when we started go through with the Medicaid, I know you and I had kind of like a consult and a conversation about what the Medicaid requirements were. What was it that made you decide to continue with us as opposed to maybe seeking somebody else to give you a second opinion or work on it for you?
I was very confident of your group there. He dealt majorly with April, of
Mhm.
course. And then I don't know how we slid to you. I guess she partially retired, and you were very capable in stepping in and helping me finish up the Medicaid part of it.
Okay. And so when working with us, how would you describe working with our office?
I never had a problem. I could call and ask a question, and either Christina or one of the other girls would get to you, or I could email you. I always got an answer, and a prompt answer from your office. So I had no problem there at all. Very, very communicative and prompt.
Okay. Where would you say you got, or you or your family or dad got the most value when working with our office?
Um, I appreciated all the personal commitment to our family. I know April Hill and Dad talked quite a bit.
Mhm.
And then, of course, you were there for me when I needed help with Dad's stuff. And you were always available for a meeting if my sister came down and we had some questions or something. So, like I said, I don't really have any complaints.
Well, we appreciate that. And well, and with that in mind, is there any area where, if you could think back, is there any area where we could do a better job? Is there, whether it's communication, organization, how we collect documentation, how we explain some of the issues or some of the requirements? Is there anything that you feel we could do to improve?
I really can't, Jonathan.
Well,
I would, like I said, I was very happy with the process that we went through. Your office explaining everything in detail. And if I didn't understand something, somebody answered a question for me. So, and you were always very prompt, like I said. I just really can't think of anything right off.
well, and that's fair. Thank you. Um, how how likely would you be to recommend us to somebody else that is in a similar situation?
I would definitely recommend you. Out of 10, I would be a 10.
Oh, thank you. If someone was listening to our conversation right now, would there be any action that you'd recommend that they take at the moment, right now?
Um, I recommend to everybody to get that will and living will and the basic stuff taken care of as soon as they can. I've talked my sister into it. Her husband is not so easily done, but she did get hers done.
Oh, very good.
My brothers, I believe, have theirs all done too. And they saw what Dad went through and what we went through with Dad. And I think that pretty much changed their minds. But I would recommend that everybody at least get the basic will, living will, the other one I was trying to think of, it slipped my mind.
A power of attorney, health.
Power of attorney, that kind of stuff. Get
Okay.
that taken care of, then you don't have to worry about it.